I'm a combat vet, and I work with combat veterans. And we meet every Wednesday night down at Veterans Village, San Diego. And I've been doing that for 20 years. It's my home group. But I told him one night, I said, this yoga is really having a positive effect on me. And I'm able to stand up straight. Wow. Thank you much.
One thing yoga can do that very few other systems offer is that when you're older, you can feel better. That's our thing. Yeah. You can feel better at 70 than you did at 67.
Hi, I'm Dorby Sims.
Dorby, hey, thanks so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad to be here.
Would you like to sit or stand?
I'll stand for you.
Okay, great. Please, what's up?
So Dorby has been a student of mine over probably like the last 4 months, and he's very dedicated and motivated. And for him, what we've been doing is some gentle movement, but a lot of lying on the floor, just kind of restructuring.
That's exactly what I was just like, that was exactly what I was thinking. Great, okay, so go on.
And so we don't do too much of arms up. I usually have him just work on as much external rotation with the arms down or maybe slightly forward, but I don't have him do too much. We do neck work in class as well.
And you're doing these kind of things like that? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but most of it for us has been having him lie down and just work on the breath and just relaxing into it, into the breath, with just gentle props. So it's kind of like a Callaway, but lying down.
Did you have some thoughts? Were there some questions before I give my 2 cents? Do you feel okay? Are there things that hurt you?
Well, there's things that hurt me.
What hurts you?
My small of my back.
Can you turn around? Okay, keep going.
I had a car accident in 1960.
So show them where your back hurts. You can put your hand there.
At lumbar 1 and 2.
Okay, right around through here. Okay. Have a seat, please. How is it for you to lean back a lot? Keep leaning back. There you go. Okay. So one thing I think we can do is we could use a chair to start doing some thoracic work with him. And then he can keep leaning back. There you go. He can start doing some work on a chair too. And do you go to his house or does he come to yours?
He's a student in my class.
Oh, you don't do any, oh.
We haven't progressed that far yet.
You guys need to have a one-to-one date. Yeah, I mean, that'd make it, yeah, of course. So if we got him on a chair, we could start to work his thoracic area back on a chair, especially like if you're working out of someone's house or your house, there could be chairs that are more ideal. And then from here, we can start to get him where when he sits in chairs, we put something back here. So now it's pushing his spine forward. We want to be like pulling him, we want to set the fulcrums. See, this is a fulcrum for him so that this can move back. He doesn't have the strength to do it. So we need to create these leverages that give him some advantages so he can start moving in those directions. We could do things where, can you put your hands on your knees, please? Good, and then just kind of inhale and lean back. There you go. Stay here, exhale. Good, and then inhale, lean back. Good, stay here, exhale. So we can do some stuff like that. All right? We can do some things where he's on the chair and maybe we have a strap where he can pull this down and do something like that. He needs those pulleys, those leverages. We need to find his points and separate them. He can't do it. We have to start doing it with him. And from that, then he's going to be able to start to find them. He's got a great integrated sense of movement. We really just need to pull into that with him. This situation could look really, really different. Yeah, sure, it would take about a year, and it'd probably take about 5 appointments for everyone to figure out what the heck they wanted to do. But the setups for him would be really awesome, and he's extremely motivated. So, how old are you?
67.
67. Yeah, I mean, wouldn't it be great if at 70 he felt better than he did at 67? Yeah. So that's the thinking. It's not tomorrow. I mean, I'd love to nail it tomorrow, but realistically, but if we start to influence him, huge change. So there's some things potentially, that he can do in forward bends where he has a lot of support. So he'd come into a forward bend. Here you go. Just something like that. Put your arms over it, and then just lean forward. There you go. And put your arms forward a bit. Something like, there you go. He can do some forward bends like this, and then we can work that. If we had a different pillow, and then he can breathe here, and he can move that while he's breathing. These are they're different ways that we can start to shape him into asanas. He cannot get it there, so we have to just start it so that in 3 years from now, he can now influence it. It's gone. It's out of his control now. He could have the best mental intentions for his alignment, but he can't overcome the structure that he has right now. So we have to outsmart it a bit, and we can go back to our basic principles of let's get the spinal alignment at all costs, and then we'll work from there.
And even in the last 4 months, it went from very severe to very significant.
Yeah, I mean, here's
definitely there's been improvement.
Here's what so that's the small picture. Here's what stands out to me in the big picture is extremely compliant, definitely willing, and a belief that something can happen that other people don't think can happen. It's a win-win. We can win with this because we have that. This same situation with the wrong demeanor would exacerbate our effort and potentially, drag out the process by triple. So it would take us 10 years instead of 3 years. We can get somewhere big time in 3 years, for sure. And right now, that seems like a long time away. But when you're 70 and you look back and say, hey, I feel better at 70 than I did at 67, that's, one thing that really stood out for me when I was working with Nike is how much they look at demographics when they create products. And in a way, if we separated yoga into demographics, age demographics, it makes a lot of sense. Because how do we take an individual who is looking at a certain future in their 70s versus an individual who's looking at a certain future in their 20s? It's very unusual. One thing yoga can do that very few other systems offer is that when you're older, you can feel better. That's our thing. Yeah. You can feel better at 70 than you did at 67.
Can I make a couple of comments?
Yeah, of course.
I'm a combat vet, and I work with combat veterans. And we meet every Wednesday night down at Veterans Village, San Diego. And I've been doing that for 20 years. It's my home group. But I told him one night, I said, this yoga is really having a positive effect on me, and I'm able to stand up straight. Wow. I couldn't do that, but I had the car accident in 1969. My legs were starting to turn black around the ankles. You don't see that anymore. Wow. The circulation was so bad. So something else that you offered, which is really exceptional, hope.
Yeah.
You offer hope.
Thank you.
That's because, like you say, I couldn't address it, but see,
no, but he's thinking. I mean, look at how. No, but, good. Someone should be.
Yeah. Well, I got her voice in my head now.
Perfect.
This, without specific training, I mean, she would ask sometimes at the start of the group, anybody have anything? And a couple of times I said, yeah, just lower back. But I learned about flat back and watching the others, how they, and I learned to walk that way. And so I'm going to take a few steps, but like you said, my muscles aren't strong enough yet, so I spent a lot of time slumped over. But
yeah, well, that's where we're heading. And you can imagine when we do our class on gait, how we could utilize gait and integrate that into his legs. And, as yogis, the ability to connect with someone so you're in their head is part of our job. You want to be in their brain.